Hello, everybody. It's Diane Williams with the Crafty View. I'm down here, downtown, on Court Street at the Bottle Tree Studio. Let's look around. I'm trying to find someone named Brian Newman, and I believe he works with clay. He's a potter. Let's see if we can find him. There are a lot of artists, and you probably have heard me mention this before, that have studio space in this cooperative. And this space is owned by Ann Campbell. So I believe Tony Davenport's going to have this space. Down there is Rhonda Blassingame's space, and we'll be talking with her soon. And when you see a space that looks like this, you know you're looking at the facility, the space, the working area of someone that's really in business to do art. This is Allison Kelly. Just wanted to kind of acclimate you. I'm going to find, oh, look at this. Okay, if you don't have enough space to go out, you go up. How about that? You go straight up. And Ellen Langford's over here. Brian.
1 minute. Trying to get pretty.
Uh-oh, you see his arms? He's putting on clothes. There he is.
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Doing well.
Well, I'm so glad to be here in your studio space. Tell us what you do with all of this, up and down. I see a couple of pieces of pottery here. Let's talk about who you are, what you do, and how come I've never met you.
I'm Brian Newman. I've been doing pottery for about 3 or 4 years now, but I've been piddling with it for 20-something years. Learned from Robert Pick and Paul mainly, but I had really good art teachers in Jackson Public Schools. One was Paul Campbell at Murrah.
Yes, I remember.
And the other one was Miss Chapman. I don't know her first name, but she was at Chastain. Mm-hmm. So that's where I've got my basis to my art.
And so this is primarily where you do your work, is that correct?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, well, let's talk about what it is you do and how you do it in this space. Can you give us a tour?
I make stoneware pottery. I throw mainly, but I do some hand building. Don't do a lot of hand building because you're able to make more pots on the wheel than you are hand building. It takes a lot of time. But my space is very small, and I've learned to adapt it. The rack you see is 32 by 8 foot by, let's see, no, 8 foot by, it's just big.
It's big.
It's big.
It's big.
But there's never enough space to store all the stuff we use in pottery. Mm-hmm. And then we try to get more organized. I think the more organized I become, the more messy I become.
Yes.
But I try to keep it nice and clean, and I've changed it and adapted it.
I'm going to step inside your little office here.
Yeah. I've added a shelf that doesn't teeter-totter.
And that's your kiln.
That's my kiln. I've had it for, I don't know how many years. I just remodeled it. I replaced all the elements, and I added a new box, which made it from going from a manual kiln to a computerized kiln. Now that other kiln I got from another friend of mine, which is the exact same model, for $200.
Oh, really?
So I'm gonna rewire that one. And then I thought, maybe I'll just buy another box. And I said, wait a second, I don't have to buy another box. I can just move that box back and forth and have 2 kilns. So hopefully it'll come in handy if I start teaching some classes.
These are really cool.
Thank you.
Talk about the process to do something like that.
Well, that pot is intended to be a hanging pot. Unfortunately, the glaze is sealed one of those holes. I'm going to try to drill that. So it has a hole in the bottom. It should hang if I ever find a good way to hang it and get my drill holes. But it's basically the same pot as that, with texture and with the holes. And then that pot kind of morphs into that pot, which is like these over here, which is a candle holder. And that, I'm gonna leave you right there for a second. So I'll reach around and grab it. will hopefully go to like a candle holder on a stick.
Oh, look at that.
So hopefully I'll be able to figure that out. I gotta get my dimension stuff right. Clay shrinks 12%, so you think it's big,
Okay.
and then it lies to you, and the hole gets smaller. So you gotta learn to make sure your hole can
Yes.
fit whatever you're putting in there.
What is that mushroom there?
That's from my apprenticeship with Robert Pickenpaw.
Cool.
So me and Robert did a Mississippi Arts Commission Craftsman
apprenticeship grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that with Robert, and Robert's been my
Cool.
mentor for a while, but we really went down and we got serious with mugs.
What is it you do with paintbrushes?
Paintbrushes, glazing, cleaning. It's like you can't have enough paintbrushes.
See, this is really where people work. Look at this.
And see, my mugs are getting much better. It's lighter.
I love.
The lip is good for the drinking. It's a good size for a real coffee drinker or a tea drinker because it's big.
Is that called glazing on the outside?
Yes, ma'am.
That is gorgeous.
So basically,
just gorgeous.
That's a black with a blue over it. So basically this blue is the true color, and this black is under the blue, so it makes it move.
Mm-hmm.
So it does weird and fun things. Let's see if I can
Nice.
find one that really moved. Unfortunately, when they move, they get expensive. They ruin your shelves, but you gotta be careful. Oh, there's one.
You said it ruins your shelves.
You
How
can
did?
if it sticks to your shelves.
Oh.
See how that one's moving? But that one stopped.
Ah.
And that one's very. Sometimes pots are touched by the hand of God, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
that's why I tell people who ask me, it's like, why is that one more expensive? That one probably won't happen again.
Oh. One of a kind.
Yeah. And sometimes I do a pot and I'm not sure what I did.
Mm. Well, what's a day like for you down here?
Well, I've had to take a part-time job, so it's I can, because things were slowed down so much.
Mm-hmm.
But now things are starting to pick up, but I still want to try to keep the part-time job. But it's amazing what a part-time job will throw a wrench into your regular just artist time, you know?
Yes, yes.
But I work 2 full days and a half day down at Webster's Animal Shelter in Madison, so I get to play with kittens.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spend pretty much half a Saturday here, Sunday full day.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesdays, because I'm off on Tuesdays, and
Okay.
Fridays. But hopefully there should be some more shows coming up, and so I'm showing at Livingston right now, and we do a small little market at the Cultivation Hall too, with some other craft people too.
Livingston is out there in Madison. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct? Off of
If you're coming from Canton or Madison getting to Flora, it's kind of like the crossroads of that area. So each
Okay.
one goes this direction where it wise into
Mhm.
it. Livingston's it's a rebuilt town from the 1800s, basically.
Okay.
So they have a little thing on their courtyard that used to be, and it used to be the county seat of
Mhm.
Madison.
Okay.
But when the railroad went through Canton, everything went to
Yeah.
Canton. That town died.
So you're a member of the Craftsmen's Guild of Mississippi.
Yes, ma'am. 2 years.
2 years now. What
Okay.
was that like,
It-
applying and getting in?
Well, it wasn't too hard. You submit your stuff. It goes through a judging process, and they determine if your skill is good enough to be a craftsman of Mississippi.
Yes.
If not, they'll also put you in touch with people, I've heard, that'll help you
Mm-hmm.
kind of hone your craft a little bit. But it's like I've had good tutorage under Robert Pickenpaw, who is also a member of the Craftsman's Guild. So I was lucky enough to get into my first try.
Yeah. I'll be interviewing him soon.
Yeah.
So he does
Robert is kind of like you have craftsmen, and you kind of have the master craftsman of Mississippi, like
Yeah.
a treasure of Mississippi.
Yeah, he's running a business over there
Yes,
for
ma'am.
sure.
He's been over there since
And-
1973 before
Yeah,
anything was in
and
Madison, I
teaching,
think.
yes. Yes.
Slow down on his teaching because those flowers he makes take all his time.
They take all, I have some of those.
Yeah.
Tell me, just give me a general idea. We've looked at some things here, but I don't know that I have an idea of the breadth of the kind of work that you do. Do you do bowls, vessels, pitchers? Tell me.
I have friends that can throw pots that basically go in there, they're going to throw 40 mugs.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to throw 40 bowls. I go in there and sometimes let the clay, you throw the clay on there and you kind of feel it, and you let it do what it wants to do. But I'm trying to train myself to be able to go in there and make mugs, make bowls, because consistency is important to like selling a product now in this time and age of the internet and online buying. Because like if they see your stuff online, they say, I want that bowl. Well, it's going to be a little bit different than the bowl you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about buying a crafted piece is everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to be an individual.
An individual.
But I have met some people. I met a guy in Romania one time. That guy could throw a mug in a minute and 30 seconds.
Oh my
Everything was
God.
about perfect. Boy, I wish I could get him over here to visit.
Yeah. So, do you have a wheel? That's
Yes, ma'am. You were sitting next to it.
I was.
Yep. That's. I'll let you in first.
Okay.
If you round the corner, it's right there to your right. Halfway,
There it is.
Halfway tucked under the thing. That way, I have my space. It's normally about another foot, so it can take up less space.
Oh, it's nice and small.
Yeah, but if you feel it's a tight spot, it's a lot less tighter with pushed up in there like that. And if I really needed to, I could push it all the way underneath there and do things in here. But they're pretty nice everybody's pretty nice with me around here. They give me a little time and space. I spread out, but I clean up and I bring it back. But I've got to put tables out and do things on tables.
Talk about these right here.
Okay, those are my old bats. You place them on the potter's wheel. Let's see if they cooperate. It would help if I didn't have a 25-pound lug of clay. So each pot is thrown on a bat.
Why do you have so many different ones? To me, it looks like just a flat plate.
It is. It's also called a plate in different countries too. But I found, this is what I started with. These are the original bats I started with, but I've moved to these bats for the majority of my making because they take up a lot less space. So when I bring them off, I'm able to stack my individual pots like that and take up a lot less space. And then my drying area takes up a lot less space. But when I throw something big,
That's the drying area.
so everything has to be covered. And then these are mugs that are in the weight.
So they're drying a little bit, and then you're gonna put them in the kiln?
Well, I'll first put a handle on it. But you'll have to wait for it to dry completely because it's still what they call greenware. And greenware is a pot that still has a lot of water in it.
Oh, okay.
And then, if you sit right there just a second, you have pots that are called leather hard. When they start drying, they get a lot less lighter because the water's evaporated out of it. That's a poor little victim. He has a dent in him.
I see
I
it.
caught him, but it's like I'll fire him and he'll hold paintbrushes and stuff like that.
Okay.
But then you go from there.
You have a scale over here. Is that to weigh the clay?
Yes, when you're trying to be consistent. You see how much that's shrunk?
Oh my gosh, yes.
So that's, the shrinkage in the pot is about 12% on most clays. So if you're trying to throw a consistent mug, you try to figure out how much clay each mug uses. Now the guy in Romania, he would put the clay on the thing, he would weigh it in his hand and knock a piece of it off. And he threw the same mug every time. I have to weigh it on a scale, so it ends up being probably about 12 ounces to 1 pound of clay to make a mug.
Mm-hmm.
But I do trim a lot too, so.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get to the point where I have as much least wastage as I possibly can have.
You know, I noticed there's some like ridges in there. And how do you get that? Is just the
And
way
that-
you hold your hand?
That is just the marks of a throwing of a pot when you're coming up.
Ah,
It's almost like a record.
yes.
And first, well, when you're learning, you have to let the thing rotate all the way around instead of trying to bring it up too fast. Your pot will be kind of wonky.
I admire people that do this. I tried it once.
That one has, if you look on the inside, you can see all its rings.
Okay.
On the outside, you can see very defined
Oh,
rings.
nice.
But the great thing about rings,
Mm-hmm.
it also has good rings. You kind of grabs the clay in certain areas and makes it do different things.
Oh, sweet. Did that one have a handle on it?
It did not. It's just it's a cup. It probably was meant to have a handle,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, the only thing bad about being in the studio is my drying time. Sometimes I can't get back in time for it to.
Oh my God.
So I've gotten a lot better at wrapping and packing.
Okay.
And that's why everything has to be compact and I've got some stuff over there. I've been babysitting at the house because I couldn't be back in 2 days.
Well, tell me, what is your signature on your designs? What's going to distinguish your work from other craftsmen if I go over look to the Craftsmen's Guild gallery to look for something?
Well, first of all, I need to get some pots up there. There'll probably be some up there sometime soon. I do have some mugs that were made for the Bottom Tree Studio, which will probably be going up there soon.
Oh, nice.
And wanted some mugs made for Christmas. And I made some. Anytime you make pottery and you have a commission to make something, you have to make more than you're going to make because some of them are going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
The time you make more, they all come out perfect. So you always end up with some extras because someone says if you need one, make 3.
Okay. And so
But-
you're planning now for Christmas.
I'm restocking.
Smart.
I'm restocking after my Christmas because Christmas was very good this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I expect it to be good again next year. I have a couple ideas of things I will do specifically for Christmas, and but right now I'm trying to restock so I have enough stuff to do craft shows. I've also opened a storefront over at the Flowwood Flea Market. They have a little area that's called a boutique, so it's not a flea market area. It's kind of like the nicer things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to put my pottery there. Use it as a storefront. They basically sell my stuff for me, so I don't have to pay as much consignment as most people.
Mm-hmm.
And I do sell some other people's stuff for friends of mine, and I hope to have like a Mississippi-made booth there.
Nice.
You know, and help promote my other friends that are trying to get started.
There's a nice place back behind Repeat Street. Do you know about that off of?
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen that, but like I weighed my option. I thought that one had a little bit bigger space.
Okay.
But I have friends that got some stuff down there too. So consigning is fun now. But
Yeah, you got to keep up with
You got
it.
to keep up with it, and you also
Yeah.
it's the profit margin and that kind of stuff, trying to keep yourself in business.
Oh, I love to hear when artists talk about that. You call it profit margin.
Yeah, it's
I call it the cost to do business.
There's
Like,
cost to do business.
yeah.
I've worked for. My first job was at a gas station. Second job was at Sam's Wholesale when it was only Sam's Wholesale, Mississippi. The third job was at Walmart, and the next job was at Office Depot when it was only Office Depot, Mississippi. So I understand high volume, high sales, and high pressure. And it's like, but you get to watch, and it's like, why
That's
is
my
that there?
profit
Why is
margin.
this product placed here? Why is this? Like, you got to go around it. Hopefully they'll get you to buy it. But it's like, you start learning, it's like everything has to have a profit margin
Yeah.
to be able to sell it, except for computers. Apparently computers, they don't make much profit on them, but it sure looks good when they sell them.
Well, this is great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there, you have any backstory, any crazy things that have happened, or customers that you've met?
Let's see. Any backstory? No, not really. It's like I got a couple years ago, and let's see.
You mean you just started working with Robert and,
Well,
you know, Robert's,
I've known Robert ever since I moved to Madison in '95.
okay.
So I think I got like Christmas gift certificates of classes when I really started getting into it. Then I went and bought a wheel,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought that kiln. And I happened to be at a bar or pub when the guy was sitting there talking next to me. He said, he was talking to some other guy. He said, man, I got a house and I got a kiln. And I looked at the guy and said, how much you want for the kiln? He's like, what?
Wow.
So I said, I went over and bought the kiln.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't need hardly any work, but until I did that work on it. I actually have a clay mixer in the Pug Mill. I bought it at Jackson Public Schools auction, but I haven't got around to making my own clay yet because it's just a lot of work. I go and help Robert make his clay, but it's like,
Oh, wow. So some people get into and people look at these things and maybe they've had one or two experiences, but we're talking about people that really
Well,
go
when
from start to finish.
I was over there last week working with Robert. We looked into the Pug Mill or the mixer. Said people are paying for all that water to be shipped to them. When you could just get the bags of clay to be shipped to you and then make it at the house.
Uh-huh.
So that helps with the profit margin for sure.
Yes.
And then you learn to, and when you have your own Pug Mill and mixer, you're able to recycle all your scraps. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Robert's been doing it a long time, so.
Yes, he
so
has.
If you don't listen to the people who've been doing it, you don't learn.
Woe to the hard-headed.
Yeah.
How could people get in touch with you? Do you have a website, or should they contact you through the guild?
Well, they could contact me at the guild. The guild would get in touch with me. I hope to give classes sometime when all this stuff really calms down. Do some small classes, some one-on-one classes. I'm also thinking about doing some, let's see, help my Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts need the merit badges. I might do a small merit badge class, but I also noticed that a lot of kids are homeschooled that don't have any exposure to the arts.
Mm-hmm.
So I've talked to parents in there and they can contact me. I use a Facebook page, but the Facebook page is sporadic. It's a business page. It's in the business of making them money. So
Okay.
and I haven't figured out Instagram. Everybody tells me it's easy.
I don't know.
I don't understand it.
Okay.
It's muddled to me.
So your Facebook business page, what's the name of it?
Hobo Pottery.
Hobo Pottery. Yeah. Okay, cool.
And that came from a long search of what I was going to call myself. First thought was I call myself, let's see, eclectic pottery. Well, I'd spend a lot of time explaining what the word eclectic means.
Mm-hmm.
Or vagabond pottery, that would be the same problem. What's a vagabond? But when I said vagabond, I said, wait, vagabond's a hobo. I like to travel a lot, so I never know where I'm going to end up, so I'll be a hobo potter.
Okay, wonderful.
That's where the name came from.
So look up Brian Newman if you get a chance, and come visit him down here at the Bottle Tree Studio by appointment only. He's not here every day.
That's right. I wish I could be here every day, but unfortunately reality sets in of having to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately art right now is the last thing people are buying.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that know that they need to support the arts.
That's right.
Without art, we're kind of lost.
I want to thank you so much, Brian, for this
Thank you
interview.
very much for coming out today.
And we will be looking for some of your art at Chimneyville, at the Craft Center, and various other places, and in Flowood, as you said, at the flea market.
I think that's where my stuff is happening right now.
Okay, everybody go down to Flowood and check out Brian Newman's work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.